one result, an effect of podcasts like the Whatever Podcast, Fresh and Fit, and all the other, many of the other red pill content creators, what they are putting out there is the information of what men actually want in a long-term relationship. And it's all coming out like this is brand new information, but it's not. It's as old as time. It hasn't changed. Just changed that it's now being presented to women for the first time. Hi, welcome back to Far From Eden. You know, back in my day, when I was growing up, and I think a lot of women can attest to this, we did not know what men were really looking for. I always thought I believe the stereotypes that men are just hound dogs, that they don't really want family, that you kind of have to, wrangle them into that. Sounds horrible. Because they just want to be, James Bond and go through women like that. That is not true. Sure, there are a handful of men. And let it be known, this is also brand new information to women, most men cannot do that, even if they wanted to be James Bond and have woman after woman after woman. Most men can't do that because women discard, or not even discard them. They don't even look at those men. Those men are invisible. And this is also brand new information to women when they come across it, usually online. And so many women are learning this for the first time. Why am I saying that? So what, right? Because what are we doing with this information? Some of us will say, oh, well, that he shouldn't care about that. Body count shouldn't matter, blah, blah, blah. But there are other women that are like, oh, well, if I want to be competitive, if I want to have a man in a long-term relationship, I better be some of the things that he's looking for. And it sounds good, but are they really becoming those things? Or is this a chameleon type of a thing? Is this like I'm going to pretend to be this. I'm going to play this role because it gets me what I want? Well, that's an excellent question. And I've talked about it many times on my channel. I personally think it's a good thing that women are going that direction. I don't think it's a good thing that they're pretending or that it's just surface or what have you. But the fact that they're starting to correct something is a good sign of things to come. The key is for men to hold out until the correction actually occurs. Now, one of my favorite red pill content creators, somebody that I watched before I had a channel and learned a lot of this from, is Joker of Better Bachelor. He recently made a video about a week ago on this topic, and it was brought to my attention that I needed to watch it, possibly react to it. So that's what we're going to do today. I've only seen a little bit of the beginning, but like I said, it comes on very good authority that this is right along some of the things that we talk about, and that I may have some things to add. So I think it's a fantastic topic, and I'm very interested to hear what a man has to say about it, and like to see through the facade of I'm a trad wife. So let's go.
Oh yes, 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 yes.
That's Nala, the famous OF girl who became a Christian. I'm skeptical. This And that's the thing. I can't tell if this is before or after. Because, yeah, so.
So I want to talk a little bit about the cake is a lie, meaning if many of you get that reference. If you don't, well, you're not a gamer, obviously. But the cake is a lie. Trad wives don't exist. You know, a lot of times we're out here making fun of these women that are chasing top 5%ers, top 10%ers, top 1%ers. They all think they're going to get the 1% man. And in the meantime, most of our expectations, at least, are the same. The difference is we want a good woman. What do we mean by good woman? Well, we usually mean good Christian values, or maybe even being Christian. She's a virgin. She's traditional. She'd like to be a stay-at-home mom. She's not a feminist. She's not overweight. She's not on social media all day. And come to find out, if you look up statistically, all those things. Now, I asked Grok to do this, and Grok does something. If many of you don't know, it's kind of like Chat GPT. It's X's version of AI. It is very smart. It is up to date. It's not updated a long ways back. It's updated every couple of days with its database. It has the ability to go out and search the web live. You can ask it to do deep thinking, and it will even do its calculations based on weight. Jesus. I'm thinking of women, which if you do calculations based on weight, most of them are fat. It does weighted calculations, meaning if you ask it traditional Christian and not feminist and etc., it'll say, okay, percentage of women that are this is this. But based on these studies, you know, Christian women are not more likely to be single moms, and younger women at age 18 are much less likely to be overweight than the older women. It'll do those based calculations. So now more than ever, it is easier to find out the odds of finding a trad wife.
Okay. Can we just stop to appreciate that when he says, what is a good woman? The first thing he lists is Christian. That's fantastic. Because because if you're going to have all these good traits, good character, etc., where does it come from? What's it based in? It has to be something that is never changing, and an appeal to an authority that is over everything and never changing. Because think about this. When we did have marriage, and marriage was a real thing, because none of this government contract baloney, cash and prizes is. Think about it. When you are getting married to somebody and you're making your vows, we often think that, oh, I'm making a vow to my future spouse. Oh, I'm promising my spouse. These are the vows I made to him. No, you didn't. Those vows are made to God. I promise to love this man for better or for worse, richer or poorer. You're not promising the man those things. You're promising God. So that's why, and God is he doesn't change, right? That's why no matter what the man does, or vice versa, which we don't really have a problem going that way, it's the woman making it conditional on the man. If it's based on God and that truth and that love and that idea of forever, what the man does or does not do in your marriage doesn't matter. There's no exit door because you made your promise to God. So, yeah, it's important. And she has to be on that level of her relationship with God. But I am just really glad that the men are saying, no, it can't be surface. And especially that Joker is saying it, because so much of this red pill movement thus far has been quite secular, quite atheist. But then you go, well, then how are you saying this is what a woman should do, or this is what, do you know what I mean? It has to be rooted in something. And that is truth. And we all know God is truth. So just had to say my piece with that, and we will let Joker continue.
And I have a story I want to talk about a little bit. First, I'm going to talk about some statistics. Then we're going to dive in because there was another trad wife, a patriarchy Hannah, apparently, that said she was a stay-at-home mother to 14 kids. And a lot of people looked up to her as, and it's not thirsty guys, because she never apparently shared a picture of herself online. It was a lot of women that said, hey, I kind of do like this lifestyle. Maybe I'd like to live it. Well, come to find out she's completely fake, as are most of them. Well, actually, as are all of them. If we just get into the statistics, we'll talk about the statistics first. So here's where we started out. I'm not going to run you through all the Grok's calculations because we'll be here for 15 minutes. But I said in the traditional westernized country, which is all of Europe, Canada, United States, and Australia, how many women are Christian and how many women are virgins? Based on this data, how many women are both Christian and have their V card? So it breaks it down. It breaks down all the statistics, both separately, and then they smash them together. And you ended at about 35.4 million. You know, and you say, well, there's, I don't know, maybe there's close to 1 billion people. So 35 million, okay, it's not the worst answer. There's somewhere out there. Maybe there's a chance. And then I said, okay, next look up the percentage of women who are traditional and would like to be stay-at-home moms and calculate the number of women that meet that criteria. So it calculates all that out, and I'm scrolling down through all the math. And we're at about traditional women that want to stay home, 136 million. So you got about a 13% chance, no, excuse me, a 23% chance of finding at least a woman that wants to stay at home, but she's going to have a body count. She's probably going to be overweight. I said, nope, that is not what guys are talking about when they're talking about trad wives, women.
Hold on. How insane are we that we would be like, no, I don't want to stay home. I want to go work. You guys must think we are out of our minds, that we would choose to go have some career, some job, rather than stay home, manage the house, take care of that, and raise our own children. And I would agree with you that we have absolutely lost our minds. And you might say, but why? Why would we make that choice? Well, I'm glad you asked. Just like in the garden, where the snake was like, ooh, this fruit is so good, and you're going to have the knowledge of good and evil, and you're going to be like God. It's the sales pitch, right? Well, we got the sales pitch for go out and have a career. Why should he have all the fun? Why should he have all the opportunities? Well, it's not safe if he controls all the money, because then what if he all of a sudden starts to, beat you? What if he all of a sudden just starts cheating all the time on everyone? It's like, what if the boogeyman pops out of the closet? Like, this is so unlikely. This is not how most men are. And also, that's why you choose correctly, and you have the men in your family help you choose and discern, blah, blah, blah. But they didn't talk about any of that. Just talk about the temptation of this glamorous life of having a career, which is baloney. A lot of women are realizing it now. However, they're coming to it from like a laziness aspect. Like, well, I don't want to have to work. And so they kind of want to just like sit around and eat bonbons, not go, I'm going to, raise some chickens and have a garden and homeschool my children and, serve my husband. They just want to go out and have lunch with the ladies and shop and spend his money and send their kids off to school and hire a maid. And that is not being a wife. So let's continue.
Trad wives. But if you just wanted a stay-at-home wife, you got about a 13% chance. Not great odds, because remember, that doesn't count fatties and tattoos and feminists and all the rest of it.
Right.
So I said, okay, now
Right.
what percentage of these are Christians? They have their V card. They want to be stay-home traditional wives. They aren't feminists, and they don't have children. And even Grok was like, oof, okay, we're getting to pretty small odds here. It literally said that at one point. It said the single number of women really narrowed that down a lot. The single moms really narrowed that down a lot. So now we're down to 1.2% of women in Europe, Canada, the United States, Australia are Christians, have their V card, want to be stay-at-home traditional wives, are not feminists, do not have children. And I said, use the same calculations above. How many of them are not overweight? And it boiled that down. And we came to, overlapping with previous criteria, 0.53%, rounded to 0.5%. Approximately 30.15 million of women in Europe, Canada, United States, Australia are Christian, V card, want to stay at home, traditional wives, not feminists, don't have children, are not overweight. Now, that's not taking into, are they leftists? Because they're probably not leftists. Are they on SSRIs or something else? Because
Probably not.
Probably doesn't calculate that in as well. Because again, if we're this far in on Christians and they don't have a body count, they want to be stay at home, the odds of them being, but I did ask about social media. And I said, what percentage are the ones that spend an hour or day less on social media? It calculated it all out. And it's not just, well, based on the previous numbers. It's literally correlating these women are more likely to be on social media. These women are more likely not to be on social media. It says non-feminist, no direct correlation. Weight doesn't have any correlation. So the statistics that don't really have any, it's not just a raw, dirty math. It's actually really working this out. It says 0.16%, or about 945,000 out of 591 million. So it's 0.16%, rounded to 2%.
Dang.
We could keep drilling this down further, but when we talk traditional women, right, trad wives, what do we usually talk about, at least in our areas? This is why I wanted to frame it this way, okay? Is if you're saying, I want a traditional woman that it has her V card, wants to be stay at home, she's not a feminist, she doesn't already have a kid, and she's not fat. Just that alone is 0.5%. If you get rid of the fat and you say she can be a chonkers, but I want her to be traditional, have her V card, not be a feminist, no kids. Stop there. It's something like 1.2% of women. So you're looking.
I thought it was going to be a lot higher. I thought the chunkiness was just weeding a lot of them out. I thought it was going to jump to I'm so silly. I thought it was going to jump to 10% if you included the chunkies. But no, it's what did it go up, 0.5% or something? It is shameful. We should be ashamed. We should bring back shame. And look at how these decisions to not be what he's describing, it's not good for our lives. It's not good for the outlook. It's not good for when we're 60, 80, whatever, when we're old and we look back. I think if we were making the decisions to be what Bachelor is describing, when we're 80 or however, right? And we look back on our lives, I think the fulfillment is going to be so much higher. I can tell you, just myself being childless and past the point of it being an option, what a mistake. What a gigantic mistake. Even with the MS, I could have made it work. If I'd made it enough of a priority to have a family and stuff, instead of taking myself off the market, I'm never going to be good enough, I can't be a good wife, blah, 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 should have let the men decide whether or not that's the case. I just thought that they were going to, they didn't know what they were getting into. The disease is going to be far worse than they can imagine. I'm not going to put that on anybody, blah, blah, blah. And now I look and I'm like, oh, giant mistake. And for different reasons. I wasn't I'm going to go be a fabulous career person and I don't need no man. It wasn't for that. But the result is the same. Older and childless. And because of that, not a lot of family, connections. What a huge mistake. So I know what some of these women are going to face as they get older and they don't have the options they have made decisions that you cannot undo. Once that V card is gone, it's gone, regardless of what women say about, oh, I'm a born again V. No, you're not. No, that's not how it works. You make these decisions early on in your life, and they're going to set a trajectory. And women are not realizing how important those decisions are. And no one's telling them that. They're telling them, oh, express yourself, be free. That means empowerment. That's the whole, liberation movement in the 60s. And it has not done us any good. It's not led to happiness. It's not led to good relationships. It has further disintegrated the family. And we are completely off base. We should be ashamed. We should be teaching the younger women to be what Bachelor is describing. And you'll have a lot of feminists say, oh, well, we shouldn't just do this for men. No, it's good for us too. What the propaganda tells us is good for us is not good for us. We need to get over having this issue with not wanting to please a man, not wanting to be pleasing to a man. I think that's what the bull ring is all about. I think it's like, see, I don't care what you think is pretty. Like, okay, how's that helping anything?
Looking at basically, what is that? 1 out of 1,200 women. Then you add the not overweight. Now you're at 0.5%. Then you add the not on social media all day long looking for validation. Now you're at 2%. So I wanted to bring this up because we as men make fun of the women that chase after the 1%ers. They're the top men of men. They're the men every woman wants. They're the or top 5 or even top 10% of men, right? The difference is it doesn't mean those men are good. Those men might be very successful and they have money. Maybe they're very popular. Maybe they're very good looking. Maybe they're athletic. Those are all things that have to do with looks and money, shallow things. And women are chasing after those. When we say, actually, I also want a top 1 or 5% woman, but I'm not bringing in looks, I'm not bringing in money, I'm not bringing in shallow things. I'm bringing in core value.
That is so true. Oh my gosh, he's right. When the men look for the top 1% or whatever of women, character and values. Do you notice that? I bet a bunch of women are like, oh, he probably wants big chesticles. Shocking. They want character. They do. They don't want the shallow things. And women, we would be so wise to not be distracted by athleticism and a six-pack and whatever the sixes are, right? And look for character. Look for values. Look for those things. Look for ethics. Look for type, all those sorts of things. And we don't. That's why dads used to help us pick. Because the dads aren't going to be impressed with all the flashiness. And women like the flashiness, unfortunately.
Things. Religion. Body count. Stay at home being traditional. That is a personality. That is an upbringing thing. Not feminist. Again, that is a way that you look at the world. And you feel about men and about work and about all that stuff. Doesn't have children from a previous relationship. That is a core value. It is a value to men. And I don't think it's shallow. I don't think it's shallow. Because if she has a kid, you're at least already in third place. Her kid comes first, she comes second, you come third. She has a couple of kids and a dog and a...
No, I disagree. She has a kid, she comes first, then the kid. They'll say the kid comes first, but it's only because it's an extension of her. And at the end of the day, she'll serve herself first. Sorry.
House plant with a name, you probably come in 8th. So I think that is a core value. Now, the overweight is the only thing really that's in there that has anything to do with looks. But we could also say that has something to do with health, longevity. Is she active? Does she care about herself? But even if you take that portion out of it, just
Does she have discipline? Does she have self-control? That's where the weight comes in, because it comes down to discipline for us. It really does come down to what we eat, because women cannot eat like men. If they do, they'll be over, they'll be chunky. So we have to be very mindful, and we have to restrict it. Some of us more than others. If we have slow metabolisms, or we've got one of these other excuses women use, then you have to eat less, and you have to eat, can't eat all the things that taste the best. And so does she have discipline? Does she have like temperance? And that is character.
the overweight, and you take the social media out of it. And the social media, I feel, is a core value, because but maybe they work online, whatever. Even if you take those out, we're talking about the same 1%, top 1.2% of women.
Yeah.
But the difference is men are looking for core values. Women are looking for surface things. Now, just for fun, I asked Grok, this scrolled all the way to the bottom, but the 1.2%, I asked about the 1.2%. I said, tell me some of the crazy things, or the odds of things that happen to people about 1.2% of the time to the participants doing it. You're more likely, or actually, yes, you're more likely to get a concussion from head banging at a heavy metal concert. You're more likely to catch a foul ball at a baseball game. You're more likely to be stung by a jellyfish while swimming in the ocean.
Oh my God.
You're more likely to get lost running a marathon. So you're more likely to have these things happen to you than finding a traditional woman. You're more likely to being bit by a snake while hiking in the wilderness. You're more likely to get a sunburn bad enough to peel after a day of competitive beach volleyball. You're more likely to be having a parachute fail to open fully during a skydiving jump, but with your reserve parachute saving the day. You're more likely to get stuck upside down on a malfunctioning roller coaster. You're more likely to get hit by a golf ball while playing golf in a tournament. All these stats have an anecdotal rates above 1.2% of participants. So the odds are not good. So here is my message to you gentlemen out there that are holding on for trad wife. Keep holding on to it. But even if you get rid of the overweight stuff, and even if you get rid of the social media stuff, and you just say, I want a good woman, good Christian woman's the term I use, but you could drop that off and maybe double your chances from 1.2 to 2.4%.
No,
but if you said, I want a
matter.
good Christian woman with her V card, because those two are quite a lot, who's not a feminist, who wants to be a trad wife, stay home, but she doesn't have any kids, you're looking at about 1 or 2%. It means we're chasing after the 1 or 2%ers, much like the loser women that we make fun of. We're doing the same thing. So the cake is a lie. Give up on that fantasy. Just give it up. Now, maybe you'll find it. Maybe it'll fall out of the sky and hit you in the head like getting hit by a golf ball at a tournament, which is more statistically probable to happen to you. It doesn't mean it won't happen, but it means that if you're holding out looking for that, thinking that is going to be something that you will find, you've got about a 1 in 1,200 person chance.
And how are you going to know that she's actually that? She could be lying. She could be pretending. That's the truth too, because we are all very good actresses.
May the odds forever be in your favor, but they're not likely not happening. Next, these women that are on social media doing this trad wife stuff, the influences are a lie. They're peddling a lie to other women that want to live that lifestyle, but aren't living that lifestyle. Now, I don't know about you, but Boobs McGee here, this, what's her name? I forget what her name is. This Etsy
Doesn't
Williams,
matter. Oh yeah,
who wears all the makeup and makes herself look like Marilyn Monroe. She wears these tight outfits, jiggling in them as she does housework.
yeah.
If she were really a trad wife, she wouldn't be looking for social media validation.
No, and she wouldn't dress like that, and she wouldn't accentuate the, upper region here. And also, I just want to say, dressing like Marilyn, what was Marilyn, right? She was a symbol for the bedroom fun. She was, especially for her time, she was quite, the poster girl for promiscuity and that sort of a thing. So if you're a trad wife, why are you going to try to personify that? If you were actually traditional, actually had those values, you would rebuke someone like Marilyn Monroe and the effect she had on society. And you'd even be like, maybe Marilyn Monroe was kind of a psyop. You wouldn't be channeling her baking the cookies and stuff. You're just not going to do that. And would save all that for your husband. It's disrespectful to act like that sort of a symbol at all, but especially when you're married, and to broadcast that as some kind of how to be a wife. That's almost, blasphemous. It's bad. It's bad. It is not a costume. Being a wife is not a costume. And it's not to share with the whole world and brag about. It's for your husband. It's a life of serving your family. This does not look like that.
She wouldn't be out there. And if it's to extol the virtues of trad wives. Well, if people are a genuinely a trad wife, you don't become a trad wife. You are a trad wife. You are that traditional woman.
That's right, Joker.
The women that are like, well, I'd like to be a trad wife. Okay, do you have a 0 body count? No. Well, then you're not a trad wife. But when you start boiling this stuff down, this is just a fake movement like all the other movements are.
Yep.
This is from Distractify. If you're interested in the trad wife life, these influencers can get you there. Yes, they're influencers. Influencers are not trad wives.
Nope.
And they go down through it and they show a bunch of these women that are this woman out here. Oh, well, here's the trad wife and here's all the lovely things. Well, she's doing it for TikTok views. And she has tons of views. Tons of views.
I'm sure she does.
They show various people trying this trad wife stuff. And guess what? Some of these women have the nose septums, the nose piercings. That's not traditional. Some of them are walking around 300 pounds and ugly as the day is long, and they don't take care of themselves and their house is a wreck. That's not a trad wife.
No.
It's all fake. It's all just for show. And yes, it's getting, ironically, I can't see this person's videos unless I sign into TikTok, which I'm not doing. But she's got 200,000 followers. And then you've got this Nala Ray, which I do remember Pearly Things did a video on her like 6 months ago. And I didn't feel like, I'm like, whatever. Like, I don't care. But look at the, I want you to look at these photos. She's provocatively licking these spatulas. Look at the amount of makeup on her face. She has spicy movie star levels of makeup on her face. Wearing.
Not to be catty, but she needs it to look that way. And if she didn't have the makeup on, you would not recognize her. And yeah, do you see her in the middle with that rolling pin? I've seen the video of that, and she looks like she's, giving the rolling pin a good time with her hand there. She doesn't know how to be anything else. It's just like Joker said, if you want to be a trad wife, it doesn't work like that. And I would say wife in general, because a wife, a definition of a wife would be a traditional thing. The fact that you put on a white dress, walked down the aisle, said some words, that does not make you a wife. It's something you already are through your character, through your desire to serve your family, etc. So when you're character is this, you can't just rebrand yourself. And I will say, it is my opinion that Nala has just rebranded herself because she had the foresight to realize that the Only Fools deal is it's got a time limit on it. And maybe she actually did start to feel depraved or whatever, but she doesn't know how to just walk away from the spotlight. And she knows that the best way to get the spotlight, the best way to get the clicks and the likes and all that stuff is to put yourself out there some way. Make yourself a fantasy of guys. And, you know, she's not above doing that. So you have to wonder what's going on the inside, because you will know them by their fruits.
Belly shirts. And doing this cooking and this baking. This is from Know Your Meme. This is from Know Your Meme. And it was updated 11 days ago because this woman keeps adding more controversy by being provocative while she's now a Christian traditional stay-at-home wife after being in the industry. You know which industry I'm talking about, the Only Fools stuff. And everybody's calling her out because she's putting out these videos like, I gotta mute this. Hold on a second. I gotta, where's the video of it? Is this, this right here. I gotta mute this.
Oh.
Because it's got copyright music over it, of course. Like here. Hush. Shush yourself. Like here, let me zoom in the photo of this a little bit. Doing the rolly eyes. The only thing, she's chewing a muffin here so she can't stick the tongue out and roll her eyes up like these women do. She's got the little cat's eye makeup on and all that stuff. It's literally the same, sticking her butt out. She's doing the same thing as all these other women do. She's just grifted to a new thing. And now what is she doing? Now she's selling merchandise that has things to do with religion and finding Jesus and being married and being a trad wife. A woman with a body count in the hundreds and hundreds that used to put herself on film is not a trad wife. It's grifting. It's a glam. It's faking. That's all this is. And anybody the problem is too, the reason why I bring her up, she makes me so mad, is because she goes on Michael Knowles' show, who Michael Knowles, as you guys know, is part of the Daily Wire crew, and he interviews her. What's it like leaving that horrible past behind and suddenly being Christian and a wife, and like giving her a voice like you can be a traditional Christian woman after all this. And look, don't get me wrong. I understand that they say, well, if you ask for forgiveness, you're automatically forgiven. And now you can become a good person. I believe that. Is this being a good person? Is this being a good person?
No.
Seductively looking at the camera with 5 pounds of makeup on?
No, because would you want your little daughter to look at that and say, sweetie, one day when you're a wife, this is what it looks like. You wouldn't do that. You know, this is shameful behavior. You don't want to cause a man to lust for you as a Christian woman. You don't want to do that. You don't want to dress to create that. You don't want to, make him think that you're licking something else with your little spatula there. You don't want to do that, but that's all I see her doing. And I get it. I am all for people coming to Christ and being changed on the inside and going forth as a new person forgiven. But that doesn't mean that you have the same value to a man as a wife. Sorry, ladies. These men don't have to just go, oh, well, I guess you're all washed clean, so it's like you have your V card. No, because when you make these decisions, like I said earlier, when you make these decisions that you can't take back, and for her, hundreds of dudes, everybody could see, that affects you. It not only says who you are, but it affects you going forward. You can't undo that. Jesus can undo it spiritually, but you can't undo the things you've experienced and all the comparisons you would have. Look at how she behaves. It was her whole life for a very long time. It was her whole life. It was how she made money. It was her whole personality. And she is not letting that go. She just rebranded it.
Licking a spatula like, oh, so good. Oh, she did the face again. She did the face again after licking it. Those old tendencies that she used to have in her videos, in her movies, she still does it here.
Yep.
She can't help herself.
Yep.
She's still got to make those over-the-top, I don't know, weeb faces or whatever the heck they are. And she just goes through the whole video doing this. And she's been...
The faces she is making, she is 100% conscious that she's trying to make the faces one would make during the big O. That's the type of face she is trying to make on purpose to get the man to think of what she would look like if he makes her have the big O. I'm 99.9999999% sure that is exactly what she is doing. And she knows it.
Called out for it. Doing, over and over and over again. Same thing. It's the same thing where she dusts up the rolling pin with a bit of flour. Oh, yeah, that's what my mom used to do, sit there and rub flour all over the bowling pin like it's a shaft. Get out of here with this. And then, come to find out, one of these trad wives, and this is from a little while ago, she got fired after using the N-word in foul-mouthed cooking video where she drops the N-bomb because she's faking it. Yep. Now, where did she go? Why is she not around anymore? Well, because she got interviewed a couple times and people realized, oh, you're a fake. You're a fake. This is doing more damage to actual women that are trad wives. Well, now there's another one. This is a controversy that literally sparked me to do this video because this blew up just yesterday. Trad wife account, Patriarchy Hannah, apologizes for lies, said she was not who I presented myself to be. Well, where's my button? Here it is.
I am shocked. Shocked. Well, not that shocked.
Of course it's all a lie. Well, anyway, Ryan Duff, this blew up bigger than I thought, honestly. This story, I saw this all over conservative Twitter, X. I saw this all over the place and that's what actually sparked me to do this whole video. Because it's like, they're all grifters. Why is anybody being caught by any of this? Why are there people out there that are saying, hey, this woman that's online for, half an hour a day doing these videos over and over and over again, well, it turns out they're fake. Like, you're going to tell me that this traditional woman that wears this what Marilyn Monroe look, she's got this, that's not even her real hair color. Her roots are brown. She's wearing this very tight-waisted thing, apron or whatever it is, cinched around her boobs. Oh, you're telling me this? Of course, it's all fake. Why is anybody even shocked by any of this? And this was going around big because people are like, oh my gosh.
They're taking advantage of how lonely men are, how rejected they are, and what they would really love to have. They're taking advantage of that and they're monetizing it. And that's what makes me so angry about these women. It's because there are men out there that should have good wives. There are men out there that deserve it and would make fantastic husbands. And these trad wives, these on media trad wives, are just dangling the idea of that in front of men and monetizing it. It's disgusting. It might be even more disgusting than OF. And OF is very, I hate that. I hate all of that prawn stuff. But the fact that these women are dangling what men should actually have, but like Bachelor's showing does not exist, that is the pinnacle of cruelty. These men are touch-starved out here. And you're just going to dangle this, oh, I would cook for you, I would clean for you, and I would wear this, and like, no, you wouldn't. Because if you actually were, you wouldn't be making content about it. You wouldn't be, trying to entice other men besides your husband.
This is so surprising. I can't believe this woman wasn't traditional. Really?
Really?
They say this is NBC News, guys. This is hitting mainstream.
Yeah.
Lamestream.
Yeah.
The person behind a popular trad wife social media account apologized Monday for misleading followers into thinking the account owner was an ultra-conservative married mother of 14. Patriarchy Hannah supposedly says, quote, I just want to say that I'm really sorry for the lies I told and the hurt I caused. I never intended for this account to be as big as it did. And once things started snowballed, I enjoyed the relationships, in other words, fake, I'd built, and I didn't know how to put an end to it.
I enjoyed the attention I was getting, and I was afraid I was going to be found out. So I decided to come out and say it was a lie before I was actually found out, and it would be way worse. There you go. I translated that for you, Patriarchy Hannah.
That's easy. Here's how you put an end to it. I'm going to show you how you put an end to it instantly. Stand by. Oh, no. This is becoming bigger than I want. I can't handle this. This is too big. That's how you do that. Isn't that amazing?
Exactly.
I just did it with a click of the button. It's so easy. You can disappear instantly. Instantly.
She doesn't want to disappear.
It's called close account. It's called stop recording. It's called whatever.
But she wants to
But they
rebrand.
can't do it. It's not the relationships. It's that narcissistic drip. It's that narcissistic drip, baby. They got to have it. They can't stop but having it. What do you mean no sound? Duh, I just killed the picture on purpose. Everybody on Locals is like, oh, no, you disappeared. That was the point. Some of you guys stop drinking. Stop drinking. You don't even have two brain cells to rub together anymore. Jeez. The whole point was I disappeared.
Right.
Retards. Jesus. I love you guys. I really do. But sometimes your intelligence impresses me. Anyway, it's not about the relationships. It's not about not knowing how to end it. It's just being stupid. Who is Patriarchy Hannah? Well, it's still not entirely clear. The social media fracas started last week after internet sleuth Ryan Duff published a lengthy thread on X that dove into the account's background, pointing out inconsistencies in the claims that Hannah character made over the past 4 years. He said the combined through property records, obituaries, in addition, using reversed image searches to prove that Hannah was not real. Duff did not immediately reply to a request for comment he made via X. Now, this is what happens when you try to fake out people on the internet, and you probably get someone that is either dipping their toe in or is up to their knees in autism. That's probably Ryan Duff. And I do not mean that as an insult in any way, shape, or form. It's these people that just don't believe the lies being told. And it's these slight autists that are like,
Hold up. Wait a minute.
his search led him to an Arkansas-based woman who does not appear to have 14 children. Well, shocking. It's also unclear whether she's married. Images of a property shared by, quote, Hannah, which Duff traced to the real estate site Zillow, appear to be a house in Louisiana. But this went everywhere. And apparently, this is from EV Magazine. I did have to turn on my language filter for this headline. The Patriarchy Hannah drama explained, and the reformed spicy star trad LARP. So it turns out this person may have ties to someone that likes the PDF files, as we like to say. One of her family members, at least allegedly, one of their family members was arrested for having PDF files on their computer. And that this person may have actually worked in the industry, if you know what I'm saying. So she goes from the industry, right into, oh, I'm a trad wife and just lying. Now, who does being in the industry and just lying about things remind you of? Who could it be? Well, I can't quite put my finger on it, although apparently many other people have put their fingers on it, along with other many body parts on it.
Ew.
It's all a
Ew.
grift. Now, I would recommend, if you guys want to dive into this a little bit more, and I know most of you don't, but if you're kind of curious, this Ryan Duff, he's at Ryan C. Duff on X.
Wow.
He's got about 6,000 followers. He's certainly not a huge, a huge account out there, but he did expose this whole thing by going down through the photos, and he went full autism mode on this stuff.
Good
and it's
for
really
him.
interesting. Again, he's got
Google
satellite photos from Google Maps of real houses she claimed to have, and he's got death and birth certificates and the rest of it. I love it. I absolutely love it. God bless the men out there with the dusting, sprinkling of autism that like to go down the rabbit holes.
Yes.
So if you look at the statistics, if you look at the numbers, if you look at the math out there, the trad wives, they're the 1%ers. They don't really exist. And they do exist, but they're in such small numbers. You're not going to find them on social media. They're not going to have I didn't even get into tattoos. I didn't get into septum piercings. I didn't get into SSRIs. I didn't get into any of the other things. And if you guys know, I've talked about this before. I have someone I like to call a friend, even though I don't know him that well. But Aaron Clary on YouTube and on Locals, and I think he has a Rumble channel. Aaron Clary wrote the Book of Numbers, and he broke it down. Yeah, he broke it down, but he went more like, feminist, doesn't want to work, be trad wife, doesn't have the tattoos, doesn't have the nose piercings, doesn't have the blue hair, isn't crazy, isn't all the other things. And Aaron broke down the numbers in his book, Book of Numbers by Aaron Clary. This isn't a plug. He didn't give me any money but he's got a book on this stuff. If you'd really kind of like to go in a different direction and see his analysis of it. And what did he boil down to? Just about the same number. Less than 0.5% of women are going to meet your criteria. I think the men that want the trad wives are, while I agree with their motivation and I agree with what they're talking about, and I agree with what they want, I actually see value in what they want. Mm-hmm. They're chasing the 1%ers like everybody else. And in the end, you're not going to get it.
And also, when you think you found it, how do you know? And you should always make sure that if you're going to be silly and go out and try to find this unicorn, make sure that she's so much of a unicorn. She also believes that the government has no place in marriage. She also understands the landscape men face, that she actually has a reason to believe that she understands who men are, how they love, all of those things, that she has men in her life, like her father, brothers, what have you, that she loves, like actually loves. Make sure she understands what love actually is, that it's a decision, that it's not, conditional as far as like, well, they did this, therefore I'm done, or they become disabled, therefore I'm done. Make sure they understand what for better or for worse means. You have to have those discussions. That's how you find out if they're actually, Christian and traditionally minded. If you're in a disagreement about what you're going to do with something and she thinks this and he thinks this, what happens? Because if the answer is, well, we come to an agreement together, we compromise, veto. The correct answer is, I would defer to his judgment. And I would not harp on it or continue to remind him. And if it doesn't work out, whatever it is that you defer to his judgment, you don't use that against him and say, oh, well, I told you, blah, 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 you zip it. Everybody in the chat's going to be like, Aaron, zip it. And I'm here for it. I think it's funny. So anyway, you know, you're not going to find it. I'm really sorry, because you should be able to have it. It should just be natural that most of you, come to a certain age and you find a woman that's on your level and she's wife material and you go forth, have your family, etc. That's how it should be. But, around the mid-19th century, we all decided that we, wanted more than that. And now we have less. So I'll leave you with that. Thank you, Joker, of Better Bachelor. This video will be in the description. Also a link to his channel. I think most of you are already subscribed to him, but if you're not, may I suggest that you do, okay? He puts out really good content. He's putting videos out all the time, really good content. And I really like the way he's starting to talk about how important being Christian is. I think that's a wonderful thing. And I also know that when you put that forth and you start saying that, a lot of people are going to be like, oh, he's talking about Sky Daddy, I'm going to unsub. You know what? Vaya con Dios. Because the truth is the truth. And there's a reason we are not doing well as a society. And there's a reason why half of us are not behaving. And it's exactly what happened in the garden. And the fall of everything, like in the garden, it's happening now. It's really not different. It's just micro scale, macro scale. So you guys, you got to feed your souls. You got to protect your peace. Always. Don't let these fake shroud wives drive you out of your minds. You got to protect yourself from that chaos. I love you guys. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.